I love you.
What is going on, everybody? This is Mike Hughes, aka The Shy Kid, and you're listening to an Everything Chicago Sports Related podcast. We're breaking it down tonight, talking Caleb Williams, QB1, and except for a couple guys in my comments right now saying that the Bears should draft Bo Nix. But we're going to break all that down and more. We're going to be talking quarterbacks. We're going to be talking the draft. We're going to be talking about situational offenses that we can see with Shane Waldron and how the Chicago Bears are going to continue to get better and better every single week. Really quickly, though, I do want to say thank you to every single person who's in the stream right now. There's over 80 people at, what time is it? It is currently 2:48 in the morning on a Tuesday. I don't know what y'all are doing right now at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. on a Tuesday, but I appreciate you guys for rocking with me. So if you're new here, smack that follow button because we're talking Bears every single night, every single day, 24/7. All year long. We're going to be at the draft. It's going to be beautiful. We're going to be seeing Caleb Williams get drafted #1 overall by the Chicago Bears. But today, we're going to start off this final segment of Justin Fields. We have one last conversation I would like to talk about because I was listening to 670 The Score earlier today, and I could not disagree with them more. It was one of the most business decision type mindsets that I've ever heard in my life. It was a man in suit kind of mindset. You know what I mean? So from what we understood and from what we heard from 670 The Score today, there were two individuals discussing, Ryan Poles and the validity to him sending Justin Fields to Pittsburgh, even though he had better offers on the table. My big issue with that and them saying that they didn't believe that was real because they should fire Ryan Poles if he didn't get the best haul possible for Justin Fields. Why I don't like that is that's a Madden franchise decision. That is a decision where you are going to potentially affect free agencies and the extensions of other players in the near future. Justin Fields, whether you like him or not, here's a fact. Justin Fields averaged about 150 passing yards a game. Justin Fields was not great on the Chicago Bears whatsoever. That's a fact. But one thing is true. Justin Fields was the most respected person in that entire building by his peers and coaching staff outside of probably Luke Getsy. But I listened to that. I hear Jalen Johnson say that he'd feel some type of way if Fields wasn't here. I've heard DJ Moore speak volumes to it. I've heard Patrick Mahomes and George Kittle and so many other greats talk about, how much they respect Justin Fields. So here's the thing with the statement that was said by 670 The Score today. If Ryan Poles sent Justin Fields to Philly because the offer was better, and Justin was in a shitty situation where he was going to get zero playing time and just sit behind Jalen Hurts all year long, holding his jockstrap, holding the clipboard. If that happened, and you've already spent the last 2 seasons rebuilding this team from the gutter, giving him zero protection, giving him zero weapons up until DJ Moore, you are giving the worst look to who you are as a general manager. That's the facts. So here's my thing, right? If you were going to get a 2024 6th-round pick from the Philadelphia Eagles, and everybody in the league would know you were petty versus sending Justin to the situation that he wanted to go to for a 2025 6th-round pick that could become a 4th. That shows every free agent in the future that, hey, whether you're on your way in or whether you're on your way out, they take care of their own. You know what I mean? And that's important. You know what I mean? If you're applying to a job and you think for even a second that your boss or the owner of the company doesn't give a fuck about you and would just like that in the night screw you over when you have to feed your family, it makes a lot of people question if they would want to come here. Keenan Allen right now just came into Chicago. He saw how they handled Justin Fields. And immediately, I would imagine if I'm Keenan Allen, I go, this is a place I'd want my family to go to because they did right by him. They'll do right by me. You know what I mean? And maybe I'm stretching. Maybe I'm talking crazy. But I think it's important to take care of your own. You know what? And I'm not saying every single time you trade someone, you have to send them to their perfect destination, but you owed it to Fields. Regardless, you were getting rid of him. Regardless, you're drafting Caleb Williams in his replacement. And you understood that his draft stock, everything that was, is gone. It's what it is right now. And he had no tick. He had no revenue or anything that was going to help market him better. There was nothing you could do. You know what I mean? Like, you have Kenny Pickett going for a 6. You have Sam Howell. They're having to give draft picks away to give away Sam Howell. You know what I mean? So I think Russell Wilson's on a 1-year deal. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's important to take care of their own. You know what I mean? And I understand it's a business, but I also understand when you want to bring in future players, they're going to look at how you handle Justin Fields. They're going to look at how you handled other players. So let's get into it, man. Let's get into it. Let's talk about Caleb Williams. Let's talk about the future. Let's talk about what's important, what's here, what's right now. The CW13 era, maybe not 13, the CW era is officially here in Chicago. We are a little over a month away. April 25th is the 2024 NFL draft. Caleb Williams is presumably the number 1 overall pick from the Chicago Bears, unless there is a insane situation to where Ryan Poles trades down. Caleb Williams is undoubtedly the number 1 overall pick to the Bears. That's just what it is right now. So, I mean, I'm excited about it, man. I think there's a lot of different conversations we can have right now about what's going to potentially happen with Caleb Williams. But I'd like your guys' opinion in the chat right now because we are live. So it's Bears After Dark, baby. Get in here. I want everybody's opinion on where they're at right now as it pertains to the expectations of Caleb Williams. I understand the expectations for the Chicago Bears is to make the playoffs, but what is the expectations for Caleb Williams? Let's look up really quickly the stats of CJ Stroud in 2024. Now, CJ Stroud obviously was in a decent position, but not as good as I would say Caleb Williams is walking into right now. In 2023, Caleb Williams had 4,108 yards passing, 23 passing touchdowns, and 5 interceptions with a 63.9 completion percentage. Where are you guys at right now as it pertains to Caleb Williams? What do you want to see from him? What are you looking for? Numbers, maybe we talk about, maybe, or just are we looking at quality wins? You know what I mean? So for me, I think every Bears fan in the world wants to get it out of the way. Every Bears fan in the world wants there to be the first Chicago Bears quarterback to throw for over 4,000 yards, and that's definitely understandable. But for me right now, I think Caleb Williams' realistic expectations is a minimum of 3,000 passing yards. I would say 25 I would say 20 to 25 touchdowns is really where I'm at with him in his rookie year. I'm not expecting 35 plus touchdowns, 4,000 plus yards, and less than 10 interceptions. You know what I mean? Like, I'm realistic. I think we still make the playoffs. You know what I mean? I still think we could potentially win the division. But I definitely think you need to make strides with Caleb, and there's going to be a learning curve on some level. And if there's not, amazing. You know what I mean? Somebody said young King Dave said he just like Sam Howell, 20 picks. 20 picks would be crazy. 20 picks would be, I mean, if Caleb Williams throws 20 picks in his rookie year, I think Bears fans would go absolutely berserk. I think the city would burn down. It would be wild. RG says Detroit owns the North, my boy. Here's what's crazy. Detroit wins a division for the first time in damn near 30 years, and they don't know how to act. You know what I mean? You still never won a Super Bowl. You still have won what? 2 playoff games in the last 100 years, something crazy. You know, not 100, but you know what I mean? Like, come on, bro. Come on, bro. Yeah, hey, every dog has his day. You know what I mean? Like, come on. And you still came up short, so I don't want to hear it. Wait till Ben Johnson dips. Just wait till Ben Johnson dips. Um, yeah, Detroit ain't on nothing, bro. We are not worried about Detroit. Imagine having Calvin Johnson and Matthew Stafford and nothing to show for it. Immediately after Matthew Stafford leaves, he wins a fucking Super Bowl. Are you kidding me? Poverty franchise, poverty town. I mean, the fact that we have to go to Detroit to see Caleb Williams drafted in a Chicago Bears uniform is just like, why? This is so like anticlimactic. It could have been in LA, could have been in Florida, New York, Chicago. Ugh, could have been in Jacksonville, could have been in Nashville, and I would have been like, cool. Detroit? Detroit who? Exactly. Exactly. But nah, man, I think there are realistic expectations for Caleb Williams going into year one. I would say 3,000 plus yards. I would say 20 to 25 touchdowns, 20 to 30. Let's say 20 to 30. I think that's really where I'm at right now. You know what I mean? I'm not saying MVP level. I'm just saying, we're at this place right now to where you want to see him have immediate success. You know what I mean? The era of benching a rookie quarterback is over. You know what I mean? For the most part, you've seen guys like Anthony Richardson, Caleb Williams, not Caleb Williams, pardon me, CJ Stroud, and others have success. And I think we're at that place right now with a guy like Caleb. You just want to throw him in right away. I'm nervous about it just because I watch a lot of college football, and there is a huge difference between defensive backs and Pac-12 speed versus the NFL. You know what I mean? Like, there's a difference between college football speed versus NFL speed in regular conversation, but there's also levels to it in Pac-12 versus Big Ten. You know what I mean? Like, Pac-12 has these guys who aren't the greatest, and then the Big Ten has like Chase Young and Aiden Hutchinson. You know what I mean? So, um, yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be a rude awakening, I think, but if they go about it the right way, I think they can disguise um some of his just not rusty moments, but like welcome to the NFL moments. You know what I mean? I think that's definitely where I'm at right now. Been a Bears fan 30 years, Cedric. We applaud you, brother. We applaud you. One of the OGs. Somebody said fire polls. That is absolutely crazy. Um, Ever come out? Oh, I've been to a couple training camps. I went when I was little too, so I don't exactly remember where they were when I was little, just because I didn't, you know what I mean? I was like 5. Um, but I'm planning on going to training camp this year. I think training camp's gonna be an absolute blast. But I'm really excited to see what happens. You know what I mean? I'm really excited to see where the Bears are going to potentially go during the draft. Especially with that number 9 pick. I think that's the only question mark right now for me is, are you trading down maybe Fatulu or one of those guys, that you're going to take later on, or are you going to take a guy like Jared Verse or Dallas Turner or Malik Neighbors or Roma Dunze? The draft is April 25th to April 27th. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. It's going to be interesting to see what the Bears and that Ryan Poles more specifically wants to do. I've heard rumors today saying that the Bears should be in on Odell Beckham Jr. And as much as like as a from a jersey perspective, because I'm a huge jersey guy, I would love an OBJ Bears jersey without a doubt, but financially, it just doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? You call me crazy. I think he finds a way in a Dallas Cowboys uniform. I really do. I think they've been talking about it for years. Um, I just see it happening, and I don't see that fitting. Like, here's the thing: when you're in a situation right now like the Chicago Bears, and this is no shade at Keenan or DJ, but Keenan Allen's 32 years old on a 1-year deal. There is no guarantee that he's going to extend after his first year in Chicago. DJ Moore is on a relatively cheap deal right now. Carolina locked him up on a really cheap deal back a couple years ago, and I know DJ is waiting to get paid. You know what I mean? Especially after having a career year this year. We'll see what happens with Caleb in Caleb's 2 years. But at the end of the 2025 season, DJ is going to be a free agent. So if I were the Bears, you have uncertainty about the next 3 to 5 years at the wide receiver position, because you don't know if CJ is going to, or if DJ is going to want to stay here, or how much he's going to want to get paid. You don't know if Keenan's going to stay here. So I would see if Roma Dunze or Malik Neighbors are available, I would most definitely go after them, because then you'll have somebody ride with Caleb Williams from year one, day one, all the way to X. You know what I mean? And whether X is when they part ways in free agency or 10 years down the line. Could be 4 or 5 years, could be 10 years. You know what I mean? So, they would grow together just like we've seen Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase grow together, like we've seen Jalen Waddle and Tua Tagovailoa, Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith, and so many others. You know what I mean? Like we see this happen. So I think it's going to be interesting. I would most definitely go wide receiver at 9 if a guy like Dallas or Jared isn't available, Jared Verse or Dallas Turner. I would love to pair, complete the puzzle on defense, get an amazing pass rush in Montez Sweat and either Turner or Verse. But it's going to be interesting to see what potentially happens. Got my cousin Dan in the cut. What's up, Dan? How we feeling, baby? 2:52 in the morning, Dan. What are we doing? What are we doing up, man? It is actually 3:02 in the morning now, but we getting, yes, another top 10 in 2025. I don't know if we get another top 10. Do we have is I don't think we have Carolina's first in 2025. I think we would just have our own. Um, I don't think we get a top 10 pick. I think we make the playoffs. I think we're anywhere from 20 to 32. That's really where I'm at with it. We definitely got to earn this though, man. At the end of the day, we just need to win some games, bro. Cedric, I'm completely with you, man. I am completely with you. And that's kind of how I've always felt. You know what I mean? Like I'm not going to lie. Everyone who's here knows I was a Justin Fields fanboy. I loved Justin Fields. Justin Fields and I are the same age. I used to play high school ball. You know what I mean? You used to go home, click Max Prep Sports, and I used to watch Zion, John Morant, Trevor Lawrence, and Justin Fields absolutely dominate the high school level. I watched him in college at Georgia. I watched him in OSU. You know what I mean? Like I wanted him to have success, but here's the reality. Bears fan first and always. Like that's just what it is. So even when Tyson Bagent got 2 wins, I was like, hey man, he gets a couple more of these motherfuckers, and we have to have a legitimate conversation. But you know what I mean? So like I think it's crazy to think that Tyson Bagent outlasted Justin Fields. Tyson Bagent today on what is it? What is today? I know this isn't gonna sit right with some of y'all. At 3:04 a.m. March 19th, Tyson Bagent is currently QB1 for the Chicago Bears because Caleb Williams is not drafted yet. Justin Fields is out the door. Tyson Bagent today is a franchise quarterback. Congratulations. Congratulations to Tyson Bagent. No, man, but I'm so for real. Like it matters. As long as you're winning games. As long as you're winning games, that's all that matters. And I think at the end of the day, if Caleb Williams can do that, I think you're in a great position. I want to pose you guys with this question. This is really where I'm at. Oh, I miss Fields. Oh, we shouldn't have traded him. Oh, Caleb's gonna be a bust. Woo, 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 woo. You hear all this from certain Bears fans, but I'll tell you this: we have not beaten the Green Bay Packers since December 16th, 2018. 2018 is the last time we beat the Green Bay Packers. That's insane. So for me, here's where I'm at. What is the argument if Caleb Williams in his first game against Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers, if he gets that win, I think the whole Bears fan base forgets about Justin Fields. That's just really where I'm at. I think all of us just go, well, he's a thing of the past. We're in with the new. You know what I mean? Like, say he wins. Say he beats Jordan Love in Green Bay for the first time in several years. Justin never beat Green Bay. I'm not saying, you beating Green Bay makes you a Hall of Famer. I'm just saying as a Bears fan, like you need it to happen. You know what I mean? Like we got to, man. We got to. Like the last Bears quarterback to beat the Green Bay Packers was Mitchell Trubisky in 2018. My boy Avery in here. Avery, how we feeling, baby? Man, bro, Avery, man, that's my dog, bro. Avery is a monster, bro. Avery is an absolute stud, an absolute musical genius. Yo, what's going on, baby, bro? We gotta hang out soon, bro. We gotta get together. I literally just I broke character there for a second. That's my dog, bro. Avery is you guys. If you see him in the chat, man, check out Avery's page. You can see him playing the piano, man. He does amazing things. One of the best artists in Chicago, no doubt about it. A Wilbur Wright legend. But nah, man. 2018 was a hell of a year for sure. But Mitchell Trubisky being the last quarterback to beat the Chicago Bears or beat the Green Bay Packers, pardon me. He beat us plenty of times by himself as well and just double agent. But let's be real. You know what I mean? I think when you break down Andy Dalton, Nick Foles, Justin Fields, and Tyson Bagent, and none of these guys could beat them. If Caleb Williams walks in and beats the Green Bay Packers in his first go, I think you have your answer. Somebody said, "Do you live in Chicago?" Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Portage Park area, northwest side Chicago, baby. Um, but I think that's really where I'm at with it. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's the conversation. I don't think there's any real debate. I think that's just what it is. You know what I mean? Like, there's no ands, if, or buts about Caleb Williams being your franchise quarterback if he just stiffs it down Green Bay's throat. Like, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest. Where's my hat? Let me go grab my hat. Don't nobody leave. If I could start wearing this hat again, if I could start wearing this hat again and be confident about it. Let me pull it up. Y'all ready for this? My dad bought this hat when I was a shorty. I'm talking Jay Cutler, Josh McCown era. And ever since he passed away, it was handed down to me, and I haven't been able to wear it at a consistent level. I rocked it all 2018. Yes, sir. We were in there. But I haven't been able to wear it since. So I can start wearing this again out publicly, confidently. I'll be like, man, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to wear a Chicago Bears hat like this. So yeah, man, I think there's so many different levels to it. I think there's so many different conversations about what the expectations are for Caleb Williams in year one. But I think at the end of the day, not too high, not too low. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that this is a prove it year, that you need to go out there, throw 4,000 yards, throw 35 touchdowns and less than 10 interceptions. But I am saying this, you need to play well. You need to at least have 3,000 yards. You need to at least have 20 plus touchdowns. You need to go out there and win football games. Hey, fuck it. Fuck the yards. Forget the yards. Forget the tutties. As long as you're winning games, if you win over 10 games with Caleb Williams at the helm and he's not a liability, it's a great rookie season. You know what I mean? Not everybody has to be CJ Stroud. Anthony Richardson had a solid year. You know what I mean? Anthony Richardson had a phenomenal year. It wasn't the greatest statistically. Let's even look at his numbers. Obviously, he ends the season after a season-ending shoulder surgery, I believe it was. Anthony Richardson, dude, y'all saw that dunk. John Collins, RIP. Anthony Edwards today, monster. So here's Anthony Richardson. 577 yards. Really? 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, 59.5 completion percentage. All right, so that's not the perfect example, but I saw a lot of positive things from Anthony Richardson in year one in the small sample size in which we saw him. So I'm excited, bro. I'm really excited to see what could potentially happen, how things can move, and really just breaking down the future of Chicago Bears football. You know what I mean? I think that's really where I'm at. So I'm excited. Wow, I can't believe Anthony Richardson only had 3 touchdowns, less than 600 yards. So you want our next QB to put up Mitch Trubisky numbers back in 2018? Let's okay, so here's where we're at. Mitch Trubisky 2018. If we're talking about Caleb Williams in his rookie year, Mitchell Trubisky in 2018 had 3,223 passing yards, 24 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions in 14 games. If Caleb Williams in his rookie year has 3,223 passing yards and 24 touchdowns with 12 interceptions, that is already better than the 3 years we saw from Justin Fields. I'll wait. I'll wait till somebody tells me I'm lying. Has Justin Fields ever thrown for 3,000 yards? Like, can we be honest? Like, I mean, sure, yeah, you rushed for 1,000. That's great. I don't give a fuck. Okay, so he's thrown 1,800 year one, 2,200 year two, 2,500 year three. Mitch Trubisky in 2018 was arguably better. Like, I don't know. Listen, if your argument is you don't want Caleb to be the next Mitchell Trubisky, that's perfectly fine. But if Caleb in his rookie year had the same stats of Mitchell Trubisky in 2018, I think that's a great year. 3,223 passing yards, 24 touchdowns passing, and 12 interceptions in 14 games. If that's what you get out of Caleb Williams in year one, I think that's a success because that's 10 times better than anything Justin Fields gave you in 3 seasons. Whether you want to talk about the offensive line or the lack of weapons or the lack of offensive coaching, fine. But the facts are the facts. You know what I mean? We're not going to sit up here and act like it wasn't what it was. Sure, you rush 1,000 yards. That's great. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, if Caleb throws 3,000 in his first year, That's a win. That's a win. You know what I mean? You got to take the little wins. Um, I think a lot of people don't like Caleb though, man. And I'll tell you what. Here's what's crazy. Has anybody truly can anybody in this chat right now? I'm not a Caleb Williams fanboy, but I'm also like I'm a little tired of hearing the negativity because it's like, has anybody truly sat down and watched film and watched an entire game of Caleb Williams? And not just one game. I'm talking like, have you watched a large bulk sample size of Caleb Williams's game? Like, my thing is like, why? Why do you hate him? Because the media told you to? Like, because the media says he wants ownership, even though legally he can't, and he's never actually vocally said that? Because he paints his fingernails, because he wrote F Utah on his fingernails. Like, even though he lost to Utah twice, I think that's hilarious. You know what I mean? Like, he's got a little swag to him. He's a little cocky motherfucker. Like, that's okay. That's not a bad thing. You know what I mean? Like, you want your quarterback to be fun. You want your quarterback to have that chip on his shoulder. I'm not saying he needs to be Russell Wilson and have a private office and call you from a private phone line because he doesn't want to give you his number. I'm just saying, if you feel in yourself, you feel yourself. I think a lot of people don't realize like quarterbacks are not traditionally these Tom Brady, Justin Fields-esque mentalities of like, I care about my teammates and woo, woo, woo. You know what I mean? Um, like, yeah, exactly. Angel says it right here. How could you not want a confident quarterback? Like, that's what it is, especially when he's just in the Pac-12 carving them up. Like, if he was in the Big Ten and he was struggling and still had that confidence and cockiness, I'd be like, as much as I respect like confidence, like chill out. You know what I mean? But the guy's a Heisman winner. Like, what do you want? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna sit up here and make excuses for some of the things he's done, but it's also kind of like he's a young man with the world at his fingertips right now. The whole city is in the palm of his hands. Like, I'm here for it. Kruger says, pardon me if I'm mispronouncing that as well. His play style is not going to translate to the NFL. 75 of his plays he did were broken plays. Well, here's the thing, and here's where I completely agree with you. 90% of plays I watch in the Pac-12, not even just Caleb Williams plays, you watch the busted coverages from defensive backs and top-tier wide receivers. Even if they're not top-tier wide receivers, you see a lot of guys who are just going to watch just horrible tape. Horrible tape. If you watch Caleb Williams, Drake May, even Justin Fields tape, let's talk about Justin Fields. If you watch, here's the big thing not a lot of people talk about with Justin Fields. When you look at his plays with Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave and all these other studs he had, you see 3 to 6 feet of separation from the defensive backs and then obviously your wide receiver. So here's where I'm trying to break down with it. In the NFL, instead of 3 to 6 feet, you get about 3 to 6 inches of separation between your DB and your wide receiver. So my big thing right now is you can make that argument about anybody at the collegiate level. Defensive backs, for the most part, in the collegiate level, are not great. They're just not. You know what I mean? There's the Sauce Gardners and there's the Patrick Surtains and there's, the Jalen Johnsons of the world, and that's awesome. But the majority, especially in the Pac-12, defensive backs are horrible. If you watch Drake May highlights, 90% of his touchdowns come from wide receivers who are wide open, and there isn't a defensive back within miles. Like, that's just, it's hard to evaluate that kind of tape. But when you watch his pocket presence, when you watch how poised he is in the pocket, when you watch the athletic plays, the sidearm throws, and the overall arm strength and athleticism he has with his legs, those are intangibles that you could say we can mold him into something. It's going to be really hard to look at plays and look at highlights. If you just watch Caleb Williams highlights right now, you're going to have a hard time sitting there and saying, yeah, man, I think that's going to translate because the defensive backs that are covering him, the defenses he's going up against aren't great. You know what I mean? Especially in that Notre Dame game, you saw actual defensive backs locking up wide receivers. You know what I mean? This is post Jordan Addison getting drafted to the Minnesota Vikings, so he doesn't have any weapons. They are locking in and honing in on anybody they know he's going to throw to, and they're applying pressure. So yeah, he struggled without a doubt, and there's no excuses about that. There are important factors to the Notre Dame game and other games he played against top 25 defenses in college football. But you also have to evaluate who he had around him. You know what I mean? Sure, yeah, Cliff Kingsbury is in his ear, but who the fuck are you throwing to? I dare anybody right now to name one player he threw to in the 2023 season. Outside of Jordan Addison, I couldn't tell you one player who played on USC with Caleb Williams. Period. Anyone a Heisman? Like, I couldn't tell you 3 players that played with Lamar Jackson. And it's like, at the end of the day, are these elite NFL players he's playing with, like Justin Fields played with at Ohio State? No. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. There's just no legitimate names that he played with. Wait, you okay with your quarterback painting his fingernails? Let me tell you something. I am not one that would ever paint my fingernails unless I had like a daughter that wanted to paint my fingernails. You know what I mean? Like if you're playing with your niece or your daughter or whatever, like there's levels to it. But if you're actively painting your own fingernails, I personally wouldn't do it. But here's where I'm at. Machine Gun Kelly paints his fingernails. He wears pink clothes and has a pink mohawk, and he's dating Megan Fox. So there's levels to this shit, dog. You know what I mean? Like motion is motion at the end of the day, whether it's slow motion or quick motion. Like you got motion, baby. So that's like I ain't gonna hold him or anything. You know what I mean? Like that's what it is. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe you guys feel differently, but motion is motion. This is the NFL, not motion. I don't know what painting my fingernails has to do with the NFL though. You know what I mean? Like I don't like let me ask you this. Caleb Williams with painted fingernails throws 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns and wins the Bears a Super Bowl next year. Are you still mad? Like, you feel me? Like, you're going to end up, I mean, he'll start a trend of motherfuckers in Chicago painting their fingernails. If he writes F Green Bay on his fingernails, like he wrote F Utah, and he beats Green Bay, oh my God. Oh my God. The content will be crazy. We'll be cooking. Like, come on now. How many Heisman have busted in the NFL? Tebow vibe. Yeah, you know, and that's valid. There are a lot of guys who have won Heismans that just haven't panned out. But guys who have, you know what I mean? Lamar Jackson. Excuse me, Jalen Hurts, a bunch of guys. Jalen Hurts won a Heisman. Did Jalen Hurts win a Heisman? Or was it Devontae Smith? I think it was Devontae Smith, low key. Yeah, he didn't win a Heisman. I'm tweaking. He was a Heisman nominee. Pardon me. Pardon me for the unprofessionalism. Strike me down. Um, but yeah, guys like Lamar. Yeah, no, Jalen Hurts finished second to Joe Burrow. I thought he finished second to Devontae Smith. Maybe am I tweaking? Fuck it. I don't give a fuck. It's 3 in the morning. You know what I mean? Sue me. But yeah, man, it's an absolute blast. It's an absolute blast talking about these stuff right now. You know why you know why I'm happy about it? Like whether you like Caleb Williams or not, the conversation is at least this. We know, bro. We know what's going on. We know Caleb is the guy. We know he at least even if he's a bust, we know he's the guy for the next 4 years. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, I just couldn't do the Fields versus Caleb thing anymore, man. It was so dragged out. It was horrible. Coach B from Hard Knocks. JB, pardon me. Coach JB from Hard Knocks. Oh man, JB was crazy. Caleb ceiling is Kyler Murray thoughts. Wow. Did he say? Did they actually? Well, here's the thing. JB is, I mean, JB from Hard Knocks, man. That's one of my favorite coaches I think I've ever seen at the college or JUCO level, without a doubt. Um, he's a dog. You know what I mean? It's crazy to think, um, you know, what he's been able to do, and I think he's a great coach. You know what I mean? I think Last Chance U really showed who he could potentially be. Did I say Hard Knocks? Last Chance U. Um, you know, he's a great coach, but I will also say this at the end of the day, it's an opinion of a man. You know what I mean? This isn't a NFL coach. This isn't a GM. This isn't a scout. This is a coach of community college football. Period. You know what I mean? Yeah, he's a great evaluator, and I think he breaks down a lot of tape really well. But at the end of the day, man, you know, I don't know. I don't know. And I will say this: if Caleb's ceiling being Kyler Murray, isn't the worst thing in the world, especially because he's bigger and stronger and faster than Kyler Murray. I think that's one of the big things you have to look at. If you look at Kyler Murray's stats, like, they're not bad whatsoever. If you especially in his peak, 3,971 yards, 26 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, which is crazy because I think that's the exact touchdown interception ratio for Mitch Trubisky in 2018 that we just talked about. So, you know what I mean? If you're getting 4,000 yards over 26 touchdowns a year, that's something Bears fans aren't used to. You know what I mean? The closest we've gotten since then is Mitch and Jay Cutler. So, I ain't mad at it. I ain't mad at it whatsoever. Um, who's better than Brock Purdy? I don't want the number one overall pick to be Kyler Murray, respectfully. Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying, X. I definitely do. Um, I think like the conversation is really like you give Kyler Murray, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, and I'm talking prime Kyler Murray prior to the ACL tear. You know what I mean? Like this was a solid quarterback. You know what I mean? So just not a lot of great coaching and not a lot of opportunities to have success. So I think that's not the worst comp. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be offended by saying someone's like Kyler Murray, especially like let's be real. Kyler Murray is how the fuck Kyler Murray is 5'10 and then Caleb Williams is 6'1". So like there's levels of this shit too. You know what I mean? Like he's definitely bigger, stronger, more built, more NFL ready than a guy like Kyler Murray was. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, especially at 22 years old. He's gonna get bigger, he's gonna get stronger, he's gonna get faster, and smarter. So I'm excited about it. But man, I appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. If you guys are new here and you enjoyed the stream, make sure you tap that follow button. Share this out to anybody who you think loves Chicago Bears football. We go live every single day. We talk Chicago Bears football 24/7. Even when we're beating a dead horse, we're always talking Bears, baby. So with that being said, one last comment I'll get through. Do you think we're getting Odell? No, I don't. I think bringing in Keenan and still having DJ kind of solidifies that. I think Rome Odunze at 9 or Malik Neighbors would be the perfect situation because you have a rookie quarterback rookie quarterback and a rookie wide receiver who are going to grow together, just like Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, just like Jalen Waddle and Tua Tagovailoa for the next 4 to 5 years. So it's going to be interesting. But with that being said, man, appreciate you guys for being here. Appreciate you guys for always tuning in. Until then, I'll check you guys out later. Until the next one, peace.